Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Infinite Abilities Podcast. I am your host, Nick Yerhart, and we are here to encourage each other to find our own unique abilities. Let's go. All right, everyone. So today we have Grant, and I'm just going to get right into it. Grant, can you tell the audience what you do?
Absolutely. So my day job is a high school football coach and teacher. I teach psychology and personal growth and development, and I coach football. I'm the offensive coordinator at E.D. White Catholic High School in Thibodaux, Louisiana. And my what do they call? They call this now a 5 to 9 job. Is a mental performance coach where I help athletes, coaches, entrepreneurs, business leaders, develop mindset skills they need to perform at a high level.
Awesome. Now, what made you want to get into that type of coaching? And because you're a coach in one way, now you're a coach in a different way also.
Yeah, my passion is football. I'm obsessed with football. It's just a game that I grew up loving and continue to, I love teaching it to our young athletes and high school kids. But also with the mental performance side, I've been obsessed with psychology, ever since I majored in it at Northwestern State, where I played quarterback for a couple of years and had some, downswings of confidence and some issues there. So, being able to empower people with those tools is definitely my newer passion, I guess you could say. But also, just going through a lot of things myself, a lot of personal experiences with anxiety, burnout, and just that overall just kind of negative cloud around you. I really enjoy learning new tools to get out of that for myself, but also teaching it to people who might have been in the same situation that I've been.
Yep. Now, when you talk about burnout, when you went through that, what were some of the things that you experienced yourself?
Yes, 2023 is really when it got pretty bad. I'd kind of put a band-aid on it for whatever reason since my daughter was born in 2021. She was born in on July 26, 2021, and 6 weeks later, Hurricane Ida, devastated our hometown. So we had evacuated and essentially, you know, were without power, and we were not home with her, and, looking back, it blows my mind, but it kind of ignited my anxiety again, just kind of brought it out, and I was never really able to shake it off, and then it just kinda like I said, I kept putting Band-Aids on it, and eventually in 2023, we were, dominating to say the least. We're undefeated first time. I'm calling plays. It's a high pressure situation for me, but in actuality, it's such a gift, and so grateful for it. Looking back on it now, but
Yep.
it was a time where I should have been very happy, where a time where I should have been enjoying the moment, but I had let the burnout and anxiety kind of just eat me up, so it got to the point I was getting sick, I was losing weight, I was just not able to enjoy things like I was able to before, and what finally did me in was before our last game of the regular season, I remember I had a panic attack, couldn't breathe in my kitchen, and, I didn't know what to do, and my wife was just looking at me, and I just felt horrible. She was now pregnant for number 2 at the time, so that added a little bit more stress to it. But I remember, just thinking to myself, I got through it, got through the game, but the next day, the whole weekend, I just kinda did a lot of self-reflection, a lot of looking in the mirror and said, "Okay, something's gotta give at this point." So, that turned me on to this mental performance journey and just rechanging my mindset, changing my behavior, taking action, from the mindset, and just using that as a platform to empower others, which in part is part of one of my tools for myself is to, kind of give myself to other people, so I can take a lot more weight off of my shoulders, I guess you could say. So it was pretty ugly there for a while, but after about 4 or 5 months of staying pretty consistent, got back on track. And I think around April 24, I woke up one morning and I was just kind of thinking about the day and I said, "I I think I'm back." Like I think I'm back to my old self. I feel good. I'm happy. I'm strong. life is great. So that's when I realized that I can continue this journey. There's a method to the madness, and I wanted to teach it and coach it.
Yep. Yeah, that's really cool that you went through it yourself, so now you can relate to your clients on a much deeper level,
Yeah.
and I think that's really powerful for coaches like us because I'm a life coach, I'm a business coach, and it's kind of a good thing that we go through hard times ourselves because it just makes us able to help others get out of those hard times a lot easier and faster.
Yeah, you hit the nail on the head without a doubt. Lean into the stress, use it for good, and let people learn off of our experiences, right?
Yeah, and learn from your own experiences, you know? Just I don't believe we can fail at anything as long as we don't give up.
Absolutely. One of the tools and techniques is just the power to reframe. And actually, in my classroom, I have a picture, or not a picture, sorry, I wrote it up on the board and I said, I put the power, or no, reframing is a superpower. So, high school sophomores, they'll walk in and say, "What's he talking about?" I said, "Think about it." I said, "If you take any negative situation or any failure that you have ever gone through and you simply rewire that into turning into a learning experience or something that you can grow from, how can you lose? You literally become invincible. It's you can't lose at that point." So, them kind of seeing that thought process, that way of thinking, which was foreign territory to me for a long time, now it's my life. But reframing, without a doubt, is one of my most favorite tools in terms of mental performance and just thinking in those terms.
Yeah, I love that because I started my, self-improvement journey, self-development journey, whatever you want to call it, back in 2021.
Mhm.
So, like 4 years ago. And, I quickly learned that mindset is everything.
Yes.
The more positive you can be, the better your life is going to be. And I didn't realize how negative I was all the time until uh, one of my mentors, who actually turned into one of my coaches later on, which is cool. Um, he said on one of his podcasts to start to become aware of your thoughts, become aware of your negative thoughts, and then reframe them into a positive thought, and just keep doing it every single time. And you're gonna work that muscle, and you're gonna have negative thoughts a lot less often because you do that. So I love that you reframe everything.
Have to.
Yeah, yeah, so good. Now, when you're working with athletes, what is like the most common thing that they deal with when it comes to a struggle that they have?
Yeah, it kind of goes into two categories, right? I don't like to think that I'm somebody who can help people who have a problem, but I can just kind of coach you to taking your game to the next level. Now, don't get me wrong, the performance anxiety is real. I mean, it's a horrible thing. And it's fight or flight. It's just a matter of not knowing the outcome, really focusing on the outcome or, the what you think could happen, a loss or failure, and living in fear of that. And that produces you or that puts you into fight or flight. So it's really number one is performance anxiety, trying to get them through this whole process of constant thinking about enjoying the process, being grateful, finding a way to reframe that. But also, in terms of guys, a lot of times I'll work with somebody who is, pretty good, but has all the tools to be great and elite. They just don't know how to get over that hump. You know what I'm saying? So it becomes a challenge to push them beyond their limits and not physically, really just finding a way to organize their mind to a point where, they are stacking wins, they are continuing to, dominate the day and to where they can lay their head on the pillow at night and say, okay, I really gave everything I had today in terms of organization, getting better. meeting my goals, meeting my agenda. So, yeah, there is a negative side to it where there's the performance anxiety, there's the low confidence, which comes from a lot of preparation, things like that. But then there's just that general, elevation of your mindset, pushing past barriers, and of course, pushing past the voice in your head that tells you you can't. That's the big one.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
it's you versus you 99% of
Hmm.
the time. So when you eliminate that voice and you fight, and you never give up, like you said, special things can happen. So that's the two main probably pain points that I deal with.
Okay. And it reminds me of a video I watched yesterday. I think the guy was an old, used to be a football player or something, but he talked about how, leading up to a game, he was like, it doesn't do me or anybody else any good if I'm sitting there worrying that I might mess up or lose the game or something like that. It does no good. So I just went into every game expecting that I was gonna dominate, I was gonna do the best I could, and I was gonna win. And win or lose, I felt better with myself because of that, and I thought that was really powerful.
Yeah, it's you've changed the process, right? You've
Hmm.
focused on the process. The outcome doesn't matter at that point. Either you win or you lose, but you don't really lose because you're going to learn from it, and then you reassess, you reanalyze what the situation was, and then you perform again, and then you say, did I get closer to where I want to be? Yes or no? What can I change, and go from there? It's like you said, it's when you talk about feeling sorry for yourself or worrying, it's kind of intense, but I love this mantra of the fighter mentality versus the victim mentality, where a
Yep.
victim complains, puts blame on other people, and the fighter is constantly learning, constantly being accountable, constantly leading. And that's essentially why I kind of call my system the fighter OS, fighter operating system. So,
Hmm.
we have a choice every day. We have a choice which one we want to
Yep.
be. We really do.
Yep. We do have a choice, and throughout this journey that I'm on, you know, I guess I realized how many victim mentality people I had in my life and the negative effect that had on me.
Yes.
And I've distanced myself from all those people.
Yes.
And it is hard. You lose friends, you distance from even your own family members, but you have to worry about yourself and your own life.
Right. And the people that care about you, they're gonna support you no matter what. They're not
Yep.
gonna try to bring you down.
No.
But it's up to us to, show the victims, I guess you could say, that there is light at the end of the tunnel. It is greener on the other side when you change the mindset. It's just a matter of belief. And, I think everybody to a certain extent has to go on their own journey and experience that aha moment of, okay, things got to change quickly. It certainly did for me. And I'm thankful that it did. And I think the best part about my story is that all this was happening internally while on the outside, it looked like I was just riding this roller coaster that never came down. I don't know why it's waving right there, but
Yeah, that's,
I've been riding
I've
this.
never seen that.
You saw that, huh?
Oh yeah.
I'm riding this roller coaster that never came down, but on the inside, I was always in the low. So, never judge a book by its cover. Always, expect that there's a story behind behavior, and do what you can control, what you can control, and only focus on that.
Yeah, and I, a lot of people need to understand that nobody is coming to save them. Like you gotta get up and save yourself. You gotta
Yes.
work for it. Like there's so many people that are just waiting for this magical pill or potion to come into their life and solve everything or make them the person that they want to be. It's like no, you just gotta put in the work.
Yep. My mentor, Ben Newman, he says it best. He says, I want to say it right. He says, pray like it depends on God, but act like it depends on you. And that
Oh
means you better take
wow.
action. He's a big guy. He's a big guy of saying, "Don't go plant your feet in the grass outside and put your hands in the air and wait for something good to happen. Go take action right now. Stack the wins every day."
Dude, that is powerful. I love that. Yeah, I'm gonna I'm gonna be watching this right after this just to get that quote out of it. I'm gonna put it right on my wall. I
I'm gonna
like
I'm
that.
gonna send you the exact one in case I butchered it, but I'm gonna send you him saying it so you can see it for yourself.
That'd be awesome. That'd be awesome. All right. So, what is your business's name, and how can people reach out to you?
Yeah, I went with Grant Chiasson Mental Performance. You know,
Awesome.
you don't think about how businesses are named, right? You always just kinda hear somebody have a business and then it's like, wait, so now that I'm creating one, how do I make it? I thought about Chasson, performance psychology, all this stuff. But, I really look up to a lot of mental performance coaches across the country who have connected with me and really thankful for it. And they all kept it simple, the same. Grant Chasson mental performance just flowed with them. So, yeah, the easiest way to contact me, I've chosen Instagram really as my main platform. So I'm at Grant Chiasson, GrantChiasson. But also my website is kind of in the works, but building it out how I want it to, the way that I want it to look and feel, and how people feel when they get to it. But it's GrantChiassonMP.com.
Awesome. And hey, these days it is so smart to name your business after yourself. I did the same thing. My business name is Nick Yerhart.
Yeah.
And because I want to work with people that know me, trust me, and like me. And the best way for them to remember my name is to, or remember my business name is just have everything my name.
Yeah.
So yeah,
And
it's
this
very
goes into
smart.
what you do as a business coach too, is I try to work with a lot of college football players to help them, create their identity.
Uh-huh.
Essentially, putting on paper what your values are and what you wanna be and who you are. I even wrote an ebook on it, Beyond the Helmet, but it's really about finding out your virtues, your values, okay, and then creating your brand. And, your business should be, you know, grantchasson.com, and everybody says, "Okay, yeah, I know what he stands for. I know what he's about. He played college football. He's an athlete," because we're trying to teach this game, the game of life beyond the sports, right? So when the game ends for you one day, which inevitably it will, what's your plan? And so identity and branding is a big topic right now in the sports world, and of course, as you know, with
Yeah,
business coaching.
yeah. Your personal brand is the most valuable asset you'll ever have.
Yes.
So you know, make sure you take care of it.
True.
So, how long have you been playing football?
So I graduated high school in 2011. I signed with Northwestern State to play quarterback. I went 2 years. Coach got let go, and in the springtime of the next year, kinda like when I was headed home to make some decisions, I actually got into a head-on collision, 3 days after I got home after Mother's Day, and, that essentially put what do you say, the nail in the coffin for my playing career. In the hospital for about a month and all this great stuff. But, before that, I was still burnt out. I was tired. So I really kind of had resentment for the game for a while. I just kind of stepped away from it all and focused on psychology, which I'm glad because I got my graduate degree. I fell in love with studying human behavior and psychology, and really made a lot of good friends and networked that way. But once I got back into coaching by accident, team, I never wanted to be a coach, by the way. It all just happened. I'm supposed to be on a temporary basis, helping out at my high school that I went to at ED White. And on the first day at orientation, I met my wife. It was her first day as well. So we meet on orientation day, and here we are 9 years later, deep roots, two kids later, Lucy and Benjamin. And I've been offensive coordinator for 6 years now. We really picked up a lot of steam in 2020 when we went to the semifinals with that group. Since then, we've lost, I don't know, maybe 6 or 7 games across the last 5 years. And we're really proud of what our culture has become. Our kids are tough as they come. I mean, I'm not gonna say they get to us like that, but, eventually, once they get into the program, we take a lot of pride in, building mental toughness, and that's only been, 10x from me being a mental performance coach now, and, that's been going on for a good 18 months, almost 2 years. So every day is a learning experience. I finished reading a book last night from one of the greatest, sports psychologists in the world, Dr. David Cook, and just then and there, I'm so blown away and moved by his foundation of mental performance that I'm like, okay, well, how can I incorporate this framework that I like and turn into what I use for my framework and use it in
Uh-huh.
my system? So you're always learning, you're always evolving, and man, it's just that growth mindset, man. Once it kicks in, and
Yeah.
it's hard to fight it, you know.
There's rarely a day that I'm either not reading a book, listening to a book on Audible, or listening to a podcast. Like, it's daily. I want to learn as much as I can.
You have to, and don't ever
Yep.
look back, you know? I mean, never look back.
Yep.
One day at a time, stack the wins, and just let everything unfold. I mean, I'm sure you never thought you'd be hosting a podcast, what, 10, 20 years ago?
No, if you were talking to me 4 years ago, 3 years ago, and said you're gonna have a podcast that gets hundreds of thousands of views. Yeah, right. I'm never gonna be on a podcast because I didn't like talking to people I didn't know. I did not like to see myself on camera. I had never recorded like a selfie video until 2021. Never happened. And now, yeah, I
Nick,
go up.
I thought it would be easy for me creating content, putting myself out there, and I kid
Mhm,
you not, when I think I was filming a YouTube video. I wanted to make it like a YouTube video just explaining what I did and kinda who I was. And, man, I'm telling you, I'm in this office right now with this computer, and I just couldn't get it out. I mean, it was like, what am I doing this for, you know? And I don't know if it was the mental prep or not, but I mean, it takes a lot. And I'm a guy who talks to 150, 300 people every day, students in a high school. And I'm thinking, "Oh, this is gonna be easy." And then I'm just looking at the camera like, So
yeah,
it's not easy at all, but
no,
once
it's so
no.
it's like it shouldn't be hard.
Yes.
It is. Like I remember that first video. I think I took 6 shots of Jack Daniel just to get the nerve to do it. Like, I was just, like, so nervous,
Yep,
and I think I redid the video, like, 4 or 5 times.
yep,
I was just yep, I was
yep.
like, "Nope," but now I have released over 2,500 videos on YouTube, and
Amazing.
I think this might be the 200th, podcast episode right here. I know we're close. We're close.
Nice.
So,
Amazing.
yeah,
It's amazing. You just
it's just
never it was this belief. Once you believed you could do it, you started it,
yep,
and here you are. So
yeah, yeah, just
it's amazing what your mind can allow you to do, man.
oh, yeah, it's awesome, and it's cool for me because I talk a lot better than I ever have in my life,
Wow.
and yeah, it's a lot of that is I'm more confident in myself, so that helps a lot, and I talk a lot now, so
Mhm.
that really helps.
Oh, yeah, 100%. And, that's another thing, that's another tool I use too is building confidence. It just takes visualization and preparation. Like, if you're like, I remember at one point during my battle with anxiety, I developed this weird phobia of big bridges, right? So
Mhm,
driving over a bridge, like my heart started beating out of my chest. And I never had this before. This popped up out of nowhere. I don't know why. I don't know how. It was just those thoughts, man. Once they start, you can't stop them. So I remember to get to the airport, I had no choice but to drive over the bridge. So I remember sitting in my room maybe a week before my house, and I'm just watching videos of that specific bridge on YouTube, like looking at it on Google Maps, just visualizing, saying, "All right, uh, let's go." And I'm just visualizing, closing my eyes, the time it takes, holding my breath, taking deep breaths for everything. And it just took practice. Whatever you want
mhm,
to do just takes practice. If you want to
it does.
host a podcast, like host go 200 episodes and tell me you're not going to be confident going into 201, right? So
Yeah,
it
yeah,
just it never fails. You just have to trust yourself and build trust, and the confidence just quickly follows, man.
it does, it does, and, I tell people, just get comfortable with being uncomfortable.
Yes.
The more uncomfortable you can be, the more confident you can be in yourself,
Yes.
and the further you're gonna go in life. That's just a fact.
There's a great book that I'm a New Orleans guy, New Orleans Saints fan, right? So there's a guy, the new director of sports performance. His name is Ted Rath. He's a beast. But his book is called Beyond Comfort, and it's actually about just getting out of your comfort zone and just living to a standard rather than letting your feelings dictate your life. And
Yeah.
very very powerful, man.
Man, like, our feelings I never knew how, like, I guess, emotional or how many feelings I had every day until, like, I got my own, life coach, and
Yep.
they're like, You gotta separate the feelings." Like, it's you you're holding yourself back, like, just do it,
Standard
and
over.
once you can just commit and just make it happen, it gets easier.
No doubt. No doubt.
Yeah. So, before we wrap this up, I have to ask you the same question I ask everyone, and that is, my slogan is "Your abilities are infinite." What does that mean to you?
Your abilities are infinite. I think it means that you are only held back by your imagination. Wherever you cap yourself and wherever you set your ceiling, that's it, right? So, yes, of course, there's, times where, I'm probably not going to be an Olympic athlete, but at the same time, there's things that I do really well that there's no reason I shouldn't be the best in the world at it. And you need to prepare every day like you're going to be the best in the world using your abilities. It's not good enough to just be the best in your community, the best in the state, the best in your town. You need to be the best in the world, or at least train like it. And when you say abilities too, that just, it makes me think of when you, like I said, when you cap what you think you're capable of and your ability. And, you know, Coach Rath talks about it too. Everyone wants to find or needs to find congruency, tying your passion to your skills. And when they align, you become congruent. And to me, your abilities become infinite when you have congruency. When you're passionate about what you're good at and you take that student mindset where you're always learning and that selflessness mindset to give to others, that servant leadership, like you said, infinite's the best word. What's stopping you? What's going to stop you from being the best ever? Nothing.
Man, I love that. That was one of the best answers I've gotten. Thank you.
Well,
That was
maybe
good.
when you just
That
try
was
to be
good.
authentic and you don't really like, try to be perfect for camera and you just kind of think what comes to heart, like, hey,
Yeah,
it is what it is.
that's that's all I do here. Let's be ourselves, have a conversation, and it usually goes really smooth.
Um, I know it's going smooth, but I kind of want to like run through a wall right now, just getting fired up talking about. I'm getting excited, man. Like I got to get this energy out. This is I'm
Yeah.
jacked up.
Oh yeah. Awesome. Well, good. Thank you for being on the show. And is there any last message that you would like to leave the audience?
Yeah, I mean, I can say this for myself personally. The best way that I became a mental performance coach was hiring a mental performance coach. And the best way that I became an offensive coordinator was begging for help from every offensive coordinator I could speak to, So it's if you want to do something, you need to network, branch out, and you don't need to reinvent the wheel. Find somebody who's done what you've done and reach out, network. And if they're the type of person that you should be looking up to, they'll probably be willing to help you. So it's okay. It's okay. And what's the worst that's going to happen? They say no, you're good. So whatever you want to do, cut cut out all the headache of trying to figure it out yourself and just reach out to somebody who's doing it or who's done it and pick their brain and go from there and consume as much as you can. And if I can look back and tell myself that at 16, 17, 18 years old, there would have been a lot more things and a lot more simpler times in life. Knowing that now, I'm still treating it as today's just the beginning, you know? Yeah, I guess that's one message I would want to leave with anybody who's listening.
A good message, so important. And we all need a mentor. I believe that everybody should have a coach of some sort at least once in their life. Like you were saying, like, reach out to them, see if you can talk to them, see if you can learn from them. If you can't learn from them, if they won't meet with you or talk to you, pay attention to what they do every day and follow what they do.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
100%.
All right, man. This was awesome. Thank you so much.
Really appreciate it, man. This is an honor, and I'm looking forward to checking it out.
If you enjoyed this show, please go ahead and share it on your Instagram story and tag me in the Nick Yerhart. Also, go ahead and share it anywhere else that you see fit, because the only way that I can grow this is by you guys sharing it. I don't sell anything on here. I don't have any sponsors, so let's just get it out there by word of mouth and help more people. Alright, everyone, remember your abilities are infinite.